So I'm going to do a little bit of a training on communication. Now, this is a little different approach, so bear with me. It's all going to make sense, I promise. All right. So this is a brain. I'm not a very good artist, and it's in a head. So if you're wondering what this is, it's a brain in a head. Now, your brain is encased in total darkness. The only reason that we are able, or our brain is able to determine what it's looking at, colors, lights, all that, it's all because of our eyes, right? Light is reflecting off our eyes and it is transmitting signals to the brain and telling it what it's seeing. Same thing with sound, right? Our brain's encased in total darkness, and the only reason why we could hear things is because sound waves bounce off our eardrums and is translated to our brain. So that is why we are able to see, we're able to hear, we're able to taste, because the taste buds, something hits our palate, our brain is able to determine what is tasting. Okay, so our brain's encased in total darkness. So the brain relies heavily on not just our five senses, but also on the stories that we tell ourselves. So the stories that we tell ourselves determines a lot of our reality. Now, has anybody heard about the law of conservation when it comes to energy? So the law of conservation, according to energy, or the law of energy, physics, is saying that energy is something that is always constant, right? It can neither be created nor destroyed, but it can be transformed and transferred. Okay, so the stories that we tell ourselves, because not only are we a brain or a self of senses, but we are also a being of emotions, of passions, of desires, of feelings, and so our brain, so us, the stories that we create help us determine how to express or how to feel or translate those strong emotions or those strong feelings. Now, when it comes to energy, right, energy up here. So energy, and remember, this is a training on communication. Okay, so bear with me. Imagine now, so now that you know that your reality is determined by the stories that are created in your mind, I want you to think about your energy. Okay, we transform and transfer energy constantly. Like, for example, me picking up this book, right? I am transferring energy. I am picking up this book, I'm swinging it around, I'm throwing it up and down. Okay, this is all energy in motion. I'm transferring energy, okay, into my reality. So if our reality is determined by the stories that we tell ourselves in our mind, we are transferring energy. So our conversations that we have, our interactions with people, is us transferring energy onto somebody else. That's why communication is so important, because we are transferring our energy. So if we have strong emotions like fear, like pain, trauma, all those things, it is going to determine the type of stories we tell ourselves, and that is going to translate over to the energy that we transform and transfer onto other people. So we are constantly a conduit for energy, and we are transferring it. So when we communicate, we're transferring energy. Okay? Now, the words only account for 7% of the conversation. Tone counts for 30%. And body language accounts for 55% of the conversation. So the words that you choose to use, only 7%. The tone that you use, 30%. And the body language is 55%. The reason why body language is 55% of the conversation is because of the energy we are transferring, the tone that we're using. So if we have energy of being afraid or frustrated or angry, these strong emotions, and we're transferring it over, our tone is going to be different. Our body language is going to be aggressive. Maybe the words we use aren't very nice, but it's the tone and the body language, the energy that we're transferring, okay? And the reason why we're feeling these strong emotions is because of the stories we tell ourselves. Now, the good news about all of this is we are all storytellers, and we can rewrite the stories that we are telling ourselves. Okay, and once we start rewriting the stories that we are telling ourselves, then that is when your life begins to change. Okay, so an example of the stories that we tell ourselves and the reasons why is because our brain is trying to protect us, right? So let's say in the past something happened, like let's say you got publicly humiliated. Let's say somebody made fun of you and teased you and just completely humiliated you, right? So then as a defense mechanism, our brains could be like, dang, man, every time we get up in front of people, it's going to be bad. That's the stories we're telling ourselves. So that's why people have a problem with public speaking, right? They have this fear of humiliation to the point where when they get up there, their hands get all clammy, they clam up, their body language is a mess, they don't know how to articulate themselves. It's because of the story we're telling, and it's maybe nothing happened. But what you're doing is you're creating a vision in your mind or a story in your mind of it going badly, right? So when you create that story of it going badly, of course it's not going to go well. Okay, and that's where we're rewriting the story so important. Because what you're doing is you're instead choosing the story. So you are rewriting the story where you're getting up there in front of all these people and you're killing it. You do phenomenal, and you're changing the story, you're changing the tone, and all of a sudden you're able to get up there, and because you have this new story in your mind, you're able to do awesome things, right? So that is what it means to tell the story, have the story, rewrite the story. That's just one example.